In 1902, a group of French scientists loaded a giant bullet, aimed it at the moon, and shot themselves into space. Why? Science, logic, and mustaches. Welcome to Mind Maze Entertainment, where we're going to jump into George Melies' A Trip to the Moon from 1902. Everyone, we're going to the moon. That's what he's saying. Well, that'll get you arrested in some places. I'm digging the matte painting they got in the background with the telescope pointing out the window. That's pretty cool. So did everybody dress like they're from Hogwarts? Or was that just a thing for this? I tell you what this movie really does teach very well is the background is all paintings. Same with the ship. I'm sure that ship is layered in front of another layer of paintings to create the visual as if they're working on an actual rocket. Pretty cool. So who made this lunar madness? Meet George Melies, magician, filmmaker, inventor, and possibly the first person to say, "What if I built a rocket and didn't ask NASA?" Inspired by Jules Verne and H.G. Wells, Melies basically smashed together science fiction and stage magic to make a 14-minute space opera. That's like inventing Star Wars before indoor plumbing was standard. Back then, lights were expensive and electricity was moody. So Melies built his film studio in a glass conservatory. That's right, he filmed in a glorified greenhouse. This place had sunlight, scaffolding, and enough theatrical backdrops to make Broadway blush. He didn't just build a set, he built a cardboard cosmos. I guess the rocket is built, more or less looks like a bullet. The moon is papier-mâché, the monsters are gymnasts in lobster suits. And when aliens explode into smoke, you know you're watching art. The story is simple. Astronomers launch themselves into space, fight space bugs, take a nap, and crash back to Earth. Classic Tuesday, but here's the twist. Melies showed one event twice from two different angles. That's right, he invented the cinematic rewind before the VCR. I think it's interesting to see what their thoughts of what the moon looked like was back then compared to what it actually is. Music here is very eerie, really setting the mysterious, haunting mood of being on the moon. This movie has a very theatrical way about how they present everything going on. Back then, I'm sure the camera was very big. They were very much focused on just telling a story on a camera that was very much stationary at the time. So it's like a time lapse. There's mushrooms on the moon. I did not know that. In a waterfall. Oh, there's beings on this planet, or this moon. How'd they do that? Just stop the cameras and hope no one notices. Melies pioneered substitution splices, dissolves, multiple exposures, and even fake underwater scenes. Today we call it visual effects. Back then, they called it sorcery. The cast were local theater folks paid in gold coins and free lunch. That's French indie film budget 101. Oh, magic. There's a tribe on the moon. Interesting. I didn't know that either. Or if they really thought this back then. I guess they couldn't know really for sure. Oh, that was a dummy. Man, that's a powerful umbrella to make everybody disappear when he touches them with it. For one thing about this movie, it shows you what you can do with barely nothing when it comes to visual effects. All they have is ingenuity, creativity, and some imagination. Somehow they fell all the way back to Earth and sunk all the way down to the bottom where salamanders roam. Oh, those are some big salamanders inside that ocean. Wink. They made it. What'd you see up there? Been to the moon and back, even though the science doesn't really hold up? How you got there and back without actually dying? Didn't I read somewhere this film was lost? For decades, the film was thought lost until it was found again, in color and in Spain, of all places. And it took 20 years to restore it. In 2011, the restored version premiered at Cannes with a soundtrack by the French band Air. Yes, the moon got a lo-fi synth score. It slaps. And it turns out, psychedelic space wizards sound amazing with ambient beats. A Trip to the Moon wasn't just a movie, it was also a first viral hit. I did not know that. Well, now you do. Parted like crazy in the US, ripped off by Thomas Edison, and bootlegged before torrenting was even cool. It inspired everything from the Smashing Pumpkins to Martin Scorsese's Hugo to a Visual Effects Society Award. Melies paved the way to Star Wars, Marvel, Nolan, and yes, even Sharknado. He flew to the moon and cinema never came back the same. So the next time you think cinema peaked with Thanos snapping, just remember, in 1902 a Frenchman decided to film himself moon punching an intergalactic oyster. Smash that like button like it's a paper mache moon, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what this movie was about to you, and maybe tell me what your favorite old school special effect is. Until next time, see you later.